Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. I hope you will be safe at your homes with your loved ones. Today we will revise the part 4 of epidemiology, which include the investigation of epidemic. Part 3 I have intentionally skipped because it is just definitions like epidemic, endemic, incubation period, communicative period, quarantine, isolation, principles of disease prevention and control, mode of transmission, etc. So you can go through these definitions yourself in your time. But what is more important is the investigation of epidemic. If there is epidemic at somewhere, you may be detailed to investigate it along with team. It may be epidemic of any disease, various epidemic diseases like measles, chickenpox, typhoid, viral hepatitis, meningococcal meningitis. So it will help you in your practical life also. It will not only, it's important from the examination point of view, you may get a CQ, somebody may ask you, how will you investigate epidemic after giving scenario? Then you have to enumerate, keep in mind the 10 steps of the epidemic investigation. So you must know what is epidemic and what are the steps of the investigation of the epidemic. These are the learning objective. First, you should know what is the epidemic. What are various types of epidemic? Already we have discussed various types of the epidemic definition. You can again see today that it is the unusual occurrence in excess of expected frequency. Unusual occurrence of disease in excess of expected frequency in some area or region. Types we have already discussed, that the common source epidemic, again 2 types of common source, point source epidemic and the multiple exposure, continuous exposure epidemics, and propagated epidemic, which are person to person transmission, and then the slow epidemics over decades, like coronary heart disease epidemic, cancer epidemic. Then we will also discuss why we should investigate the epidemic, what are its objectives, because we want to find out it is magnitude, source infection, various contributing factors, and of course then in the end you have to recommend various control and prevention measures. Then the interpretation of the disease in population of time, place, person. This we already discussed today, but again revise that according to time you make the epidemic curve. You plot the cases according to the time, which is called epidemic curve, and for place you draw the spot map, which was as it was made by the John Snow, who investigated the cholera epidemic in London 1854. Because in this epidemic curve and in the spot map, there might be, it may show clustering of cases and which show the common source infection. So which helps in finding out the source infection, mode of transmission, magnitude, type of epidemic, etc. And then personal characteristic also sometimes help in finding the clue about the source infection and mode of transmission, like age, gender, occupation, socioeconomic status. When we say that epidemic has occurred and when we declare that epidemic has ended, you know that epidemic unusual occurrence of disease in some region or area in excess of expected frequency. Unusual occurrence means that average cases which occur in that place during last 3 to 4 years, if it is excess of those average cases, then it is called epidemic. And if disease is new, already not present in that area, for example, yellow fever, plague is not present in our area, even a single case will call the epidemic. And when we to declare that epidemic has ended, when twice the incubation period has passed and there is no case is reported. For example, today, nowadays, COVID-19 epidemic, pandemic is going on. And when we will say that it has ended, when twice the incubation period, mean 14 days incubation period, you make it twice, 28 days. If for 28 days, there is no case reported in your country, it means your country is free from that pandemic or the epidemic. Then steps of the epidemic investigation. Of course, there are 10 steps. We will discuss one by one, which include the confirmation of the diagnosis, confirmation of the epidemic, and then of course you find out the population risk, then you find out the cases characteristics, then you study the environmental factor, the ecological factors, and which have contributed to the outbreak of that epidemic. Then you do the data analysis in relation to time, place, person. Then of course you make some hypothesis. Then you test the hypothesis by case control or cohort study. You calculate odds ratio, attack rates in exposed and non-exposed, and of course the relative risk and p-value. And then after that, you recommend some control measures, prevention measures, then you write a report and submit to the authority concerned. Attack rate is the incidence rate when the population exposed to a risk factor for a limited period of time. It is usually in the percentage. Normally in the epidemic, we calculate the attack rate. Actually, it is the incidence rate. The number of cases who develop the disease divided by total number of population days multiply 100. The attack rate is always in percentage. Then this was the brief overview of today's lecture. Now we can discuss a little bit in detail. Investigation of epidemic is an exciting exercise in medical detection. Once you will graduate and you may be detailed, especially the army cadets in the army, they are usually detailed once you become the medical officer of the units to investigate the epidemic. It is very excited exercise, and epidemics usually occur without warning. They spread rapidly because due to rapid communication system, as COVID-19 has spread throughout the world in a short period of time, because the person incubation period may reach anywhere in the world within a few hours. If the epidemics or pandemics are not promptly investigated, remedial measures not adopted, then may lead to high mortality and the high morbidity. What is importance of investigation epidemic? There are two types. One is the public service. You want to assure the public that nothing is serious. You should not be panicked. Inshallah, it will be controlled very soon. And second aim is you control the spread of disease in the population. You take various public health measures, as you know, in the COVID-19, various public health measures has been taken. Washing of hands with soap and water for 20 seconds, use of mask, physical distancing, avoiding of the crowded places, etc. This is the public service. Then scientific need also. Sometimes you also new diseases you may identify after investigation, and you can discover association between risk factor and disease. Now the team is not a single person. Usually, it is a teamwork. Uh, Specialist in community medicine or public health specialist is usually head of the team. Then medical specialist, the concerned specialist, depends upon the nature of disease. If you want to investigate the COVID epidemic, then of course medical specialist. If there is a outbreak of viral conjunctivitis, which is also called in Urdu shobe chasham, then of course you will take the eye specialist, ophthalmologist, uh, concerned specialist will be taken. Then pathologist are also the team or the member. He may be microbiologist if it is a viral bacterial disease, typhoid like a typhoid. He may be virologist if it is a viral disease like dengue fever, COVID-19, or swine flu, or bird flu, or viral hepatitis. And then if some vector is involved in the causation of disease, in the mode of transmission, then entomologist will also be the team member. Like we want to investigate dengue fever, malaria, leishmaniasis, and of course entomologist will also be the team of the member. Before you go for investigation to the field area, you must review the literature on the disease. And then you must prepare the supplies and equipment for the collection of the samples from the area. And then you must consult the lab staff. Then you should arrange for portable computer like laptop, camera, calculator, mobile phone. And you should, after reaching the place, you should consult the local staff about the situation and for logistic arrangements. Epidemic, we have already discussed. Epi mean upon, demas mean people. So this is unusual occurrence in a community or region of disease, specific health-related behavior. It may not be a disease, sometimes maybe specific health-related behavior, for example, smoking, or other health-related event like traffic accidents, clearly in excess of expected occurrence. This unusual occurrence is the key word, and in excess of the expected occurrence. So an arbitrary limit of two standard errors or two standard deviations from the endemic frequency used to define the epidemic threshold for common disease. For example, measles, chickenpox, cholera, viral hepatitis, bird flu, swine flu, which is two standard deviation or two standard errors above the endemic frequency. You can calculate data of last 3 to 5 years, and you calculate average number of cases at that place, and then of course it will be more than two standard deviation of that frequency, then you will declare that it is a epidemic. So unusual occurrence, a community region of disease, specific health behavior, other health event, increase in excess expected frequency, epidemic. And then what are the objectives of the epidemiological investigation? You want to identify the problem and its magnitude, and of course what is the source infection, what factors are responsible for this outbreak. Then you will recommend some steps necessary for control of disease. Then of course you will get recommendations to prevent its recurrence in future. So these are the 4 objectives of the epidemiological investigation of any disease. The basic steps of the investigation, first you have to verify the diagnosis, because sometimes you are told that a disease has occurred, epidemic has occurred some place, and you detailed to investigate it. The disease which is given to you, sometimes after investigation, that disease is not there, there is some other disease. It happened with me. Once I was in the army, I was detailed by medical director at GHQ to investigate the outbreak. I was told that there is an outbreak of the food poisoning among the some battalion in the Nakyal sector, Zarkshmi. And once I went there and started investigation, it was found it was not food poisoning, it was cholera. And later on, it was confirmed with the water sample in the lab. So first you have to verify the diagnosis from the clinical examination, from the lab test, etc. Then of course you will confirm the existence of epidemic. There is really epidemic. If it is, you take the average of 3 to 5 years, and if it is more than 2 standard errors or 2 standard deviation above that level, it is called epidemic. Then you have to define the population at risk, which because for calculation of the attack rate, you have need to the denominator, population risk. Uh, you can get the map of the area, you can get the census list, and you can find out the population at risk. Then the rapid search counting of all cases, you make the epidemiological case sheet according to their age, gender, sign symptoms, diagnosis, date of onset, and the final outcome and the hospital, etc. And of course, you will evaluate the ecological factor, environmental factors which have contributed. Maybe in case of food poisoning, for example, this water supply, milk supply, ice, etc., or this the hygiene of the food handlers, etc. You will examine the evaluate the ecological factors. Then of course, then you will go for the data analysis, time, place, person. You will make the epidemic curve, and place you will make the spot map, and the personal characteristics you will also find out whether it is young people, old people, male, female, number of cases, and the clustering of cases may give you hint about the source of the disease and mode of transmission. Then after going all these analysis, then you will formulate the hypothesis. For example, you may say disease is due to water contamination. For example, it is viral hepatitis, you may say, or typhoid. And then you may make hypothesis that it is due to water. Then, of course, you can test also hypothesis. You chlorinate the water, and you remove the source of contamination. And then if the problem is settled, then of course your hypothesis is confirmed. Then of course, testing of hypothesis, you can also calculate attack rates in exposed, non-exposed people, secondary attack rates. You can also carry out cohort study, calculate the relative risk, and case control study, you can calculate the odds ratio. Then you will recommend the implement and control and prevention measures, and so that it is immediately prevented or controlled. And then of course, you will write the detailed report and communicate your finding to the authorities concerned, those who have detailed you for investigation of the epidemic. So these are the 10 steps. Rapid search for all cases, steps up to 4 steps, it is clear. Rapid search for all cases and their characteristics is very important. You can do medical survey, you can do make epidemiological case sheet, and search for more cases. This is also called line listing of cases, or this epidemiological case sheet. Name, age, gender, symptom, onset, lab, location, hospital, outcome, recovered at death. Then it will give you a lot of help. You can make the bar chart also. Then of course, you will analyze the data regarding time, place, and person. Epidemic curve you will make, you will plot the cases according to the time of onset, which is called epidemic curve. The clustering of cases, it will give you hint about the common source or propagate epidemic. Then place, you can make spot map, and you can find out the geographical distribution. In this also, if there is a clustering of cases someplace, it may show a common source infection. Then person, age, sex, occupation, other risk factors. Then you will calculate the attack rate, fatality rate, case fatality rate, food specific attack rates, etc. This is epidemic curve. Epidemic curve usually I are show in the Viva. You have to identify it. When the students are asked, some will say it is a bar chart, some will say it is a histogram. It is not like that. You must see the axis of this curve or chart or diagram, and if it is the number of cases according to the time of onset, then of course it is epidemic curve. You should not call it is of course a burden, but It is epidemic curve because cases have been plotted according to their time of onset. So you must look at the axis. This is again onset of gastroenteritis. This also point source epidemic. This is the John Snow and cholera, who investigated the cholera outbreak in London 1854. Broad street palm looks at cholera deaths, geographical mapping, and where do the cases live, where do the cases work, and then he found out the water source. What was the water source? Then of course there is clustering of cases. So this was the pump around it. There are clustering cases. This was the source infection. The handle was removed and the cases settled on the recommendation of the John Snow. So then you make the hypothesis, depending after time, place, person, as he made the John Snow after time, place, person, after spot map, that it is due to contaminated water from this water pump. Then he recommended the removal of that handle of the pump, and cases settled. So hypothesis may be made about causative agent, about mode of spread, about environmental factors, etc., depending upon the nature of disease. Then you test the hypothesis by comparing attack rates in various groups for those exposed and for those not exposed to each suspected factor. The primary attack rate, how will you calculate? Number of people at risk in whom an illness develops divided by total number of people at risk, multiply 100. You make 2 by 2 table. Calculate the association, for example, like this: total exposed, total unexposed, and out of total exposed, people became ill and well. And similarly, among unexposed, some people will become ill, some people will be well. Then you can calculate by cross product ratio, ADBC ratio, or you can calculate relative risk, incidence among exposed divided by incidence among non-exposed. You can calculate relative, which will give you strength of association. So this is the ABCD. For example, this is the one study. This is the relative risk of illness for the exposure sweet potatoes. He calculated, you can see here, exposure, 3 people were exposed. Out of 3, 1 became ill. So attack rate 1 by 3, 33%. And 31 people were not exposed, did not that sweet potatoes. Out of these 15 became ill. So attack rate was 48%. It means the attack rate is higher among the non-exposed people. You can say that there is no association between sweet potatoes and illness. Moreover, you can see here the relative relative risk or odds ratio is less than 1. Ratio and p-value is also very high. So you can say there is no association between this. Then you can calculate also relative risk of the Mardi Gras punch. Here again, 20 people were exposed who with this grass punch, and out of 14 became ill. So attack rate 14 by 20, 70%. In this 2 by 14, 14%. So here the attack rate is a lot of difference between exposed and non-exposed. You can say, moreover, the relative risk also 4.9, means the people who were exposed to the grass punch, they were 4.9 times more likely to become ill as compared to people who were not exposed. And p-value is also very significant, 0.004. So there is significant statistical association between grass punch and the disease. Similarly, this is again, several college students presented with GI-related symptoms thought to have been associated with the food served in the cafeteria. Hypothesis was made contaminated macaroni salad was the source of the GI infection. This was hypothesis. Then you made 2 by 2 table, and exposure status: 8 salad, 12 4, 16 students ate salad, and 20 did not eat. Out of the 16, 12 became sick, and out of those who did not eat salad, out of these 26 became ill. Attack rate you can also calculate, you can straightway find out the odd ratio. Odd ratio 12 multiplied 16 divided 4 multiplied 6. So it is 7. 7 means people who ate this macaroni salad, they were 7 times more likely to suffer from GI infection as people. You can say people who had GI infection, they are 7 times more likely to have exposure to the macaroni salad as compared to people who did not have GI infection. You can interpret in this way also. Similarly, this is another example. Occurrence of diarrhea by exposure to menu A, resident nursing home study, some nursing home study. For example, in this was 17 people were exposed to the menu A and 19 were not. Now the 12 became ill and the only 2 became ill. So odd ratio 12 multiplied 17 divided by 5 multiply 2, you can see 20.4, which is a very, very strong odd ratio. You can say people who ate from menu A were about 20 times more likely to have diarrhea than those who did not eat from menu A. Or you can say the people who were suffering from diarrhea, they were 20 times more likely to have been exposed to menu A as compared to those who did not have diarrhea. Treasure tag consumption vanilla ice cream. In this also, ate vanilla ice cream, did not eat. So 54 eat, or the 43 became ill. Attack rate 79.6, and who did not eat vanilla ice cream, their attack rate is 14.3%. There's a lot of difference. So if you calculate relative risk incidence among exposed, that is 43 divided by 79.6, and 3 divided by 3 divided by 4, this will come this, and this is the relative risk, 5.36. The relative indicate that a person who ate vanilla ice cream was 5.6 times more likely to become ill than who did not eat vanilla ice cream. So there is a confirm vanilla is the source infection, vanilla ice cream. So that's all for today. Now I have this time I have given you the MCQ quiz on investigation of epidemic. It is 8. There are total 8 MCQs. Just you can solve it within 8 minutes. I have uploaded these assigned quiz to you from today, from 1500 hours onwards, and time is a couple of hours. Today it will finish by the end of the evening, because in the MCQs time is not given in that, it is given usually minutes, but still I have given you this 4, 5, 6 hours. So you can log in, or you can solve these MCQs. It will not take more than 8 to 10 minutes. Thank you very much. That's all for today. If you have any questions or queries, you can contact me through this your WhatsApp group. This lecture is also very important. You may be asked to investigate, describe the steps of the investigation. You may be given a scenario. It will also this lecture is also very helpful in your practical life. It is relevant to you once you are detailed as a medical officer or public health specialist, a community medicine specialist, to investigate the epidemic. If you have the steps in mind, that the verification of diagnosis, confirmation of existence of epidemic, and number 3, defining the population address. Number 4, you have to find out the rapid search for cases, their characteristics. You have make the epidemiological case sheet, line listing cases. Then you have to, number 5, you have to identify the ecological factor. You have to study the ecological environmental factors which have played part in that epidemic. Number 6, you will do the data analysis in respect of the time, place, and person. And then number 7, you will formulate the hypothesis. Number 8, you will test the hypothesis by calculating the attack rates, exposed, non-exposed, relative risk, case control studies, or case control studies, odds ratio, and cohort studies, relative risk. Then, of course, you will recommend some prevention or control measures for that epidemic. And in the end, you will write a detailed report and submit to the authorities concerned, those who have detailed. So these are the 10 steps. Every student must know these steps. These are will help you in the practical life. These are also important from the examination point. Thank you very much. That's all for today.
Dafis sir, thank you.
Better.